What's up, YouTube? This is your girl, Megan. Welcome back to the Hood Astro Queen. To all of my returning subscribers. But if this is your first time on my page on today, be sure to hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. All my fucking Virgos. It's your birthday. Hey, happy birthday. It is Virgo season officially. And what better way to bring in Virgo season than to do Virgo Exposed. I'm finna expose y'all asses, alright? But it's gonna be out of love. So we're gonna talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between because you gotta love those Virgos, okay? And really quick disclaimer for all of the people who love to hop in the comment section and rant and rave and complain about how all of these qualities don't apply to them. I'm a Virgo. That ain't true. My mama a Virgo. That ain't true. My cousin a Virgo. That ain't none of us. They don't sound like nobody I know. Well, I'm speaking more to the archetype of the sign Virgo as opposed to every single Virgo in existence, because we all know that we're comprised of a host of many different energies, okay? So with that being said, let's get started. Virgo. Virgo is a negative feminine sign, so they are naturally very receptive. Virgo is also mutable earth, making them very practical people and also reasonable. And this is what makes Virgos rather responsible. They are great planners and also make great friends. Now, that's my personal opinion. I'm a Sagittarius, so I wing it. I mean, granted, I'm a Virgo moon, so I can actually relate to a lot of what I'm about to discuss. However, being a Sagittarius, I am prone to winging it. I am ruled by Jupiter, so naturally, I can be kind of out there. So I need that earth to ground me, bring me down, and, keep me kind of reality based. Okay. So that's just my personal opinion there. However, Virgos do make great friends as they are nurturers, but they nurture in a more practical way. So these are the friends, like I said in my very first video that I did on Virgo, actually a year ago today. They are those friends that if you're moving into a new house, right, they'll come and help you unpack. They'll get you things that they know you need. If you have a problem and you call a Virgo up, they might not cry with you, but instead help you come up with a solution to the problem, which, if you ask me, is like better. Virgo is governed by Mercury, which provides it with a great deal of mental and cerebral activity, which is why a lot of Virgos tend to be very intelligent. I don't know a stupid Virgo personally. Even if they are not traditionally educated, meaning, okay, well, I went to high school, college, grad school, etc., these people can still be very much life learners. This Mercury influence makes for a very analytical mind as well as a critical thinker. They tend to be very logical and so on and so forth. And a lot of them, from what I've noticed and I've observed over the years, tend to be very well educated at an early age. So whether that be they're talking a lot younger than most kids, very expressive, right? Communication is very big. And it also depends on your other placements as well, but that's just something that I tend to notice about Virgo and Gemini, because they both share that ruling planet of Mercury. Now, Virgos are also natural problem solvers. Their problem solving and fault finding abilities can make them the ultimate proofreaders, checkers, the person who walks around with the checklist and catches other people's mistakes. Yeah, that's a Virgo. And on the other hand, it could also make them very hypercritical, hard to please, complainers, fickle, and even perfectionists. Now, I think that's a stereotype, obviously. While a lot of Virgos, or many Virgos, might very well be perfectionists, I feel like that's not necessarily all of them, but we're going to get to that a little bit later. However, in that same vein of perfectionism, think Beyonce. Okay, that she's literally the quintessential Virgo. She might not be, and I personally don't think she's really that talented when it comes to dancing, when it comes to acting. She's an amazing singer, and I will give her that. However, you can tell that because of her hard work and that sense of perfectionism that she has, it doesn't matter what she's naturally good at or what she's not. She's going to perfect each and every component of her performance so that she can put on an amazing show. And she does. I will give her that. She does. She pretty much always does. So that's like the ultimate Virgo energy. But their incredible attention to detail can also backfire by making them the types of people who major in the minor. Okay, these are the people who can, because they're so tedious and meticulous in the way that they observe things, in the way that they point out faults and flaws in the systems, they can take minute issues and blow them up unnecessarily. And they can also be the type of people who suffer from analysis paralysis, where if you want to be perfect at something and you kind of, I guess the task or whatever the goal is can seem kind of daunting to you, so you just don't do it. You never really get around to materializing whatever it is that you're trying to do because you want to be the best at it. And if you're not going to be the best, you just don't do it. That's quintessential Virgo energy. And a lot of this stems from the fear of looking incompetent or being viewed as incompetent, because that's one of Virgo's biggest fears, all right? They always want to appear put together. This is why they do tend to be on the more conservative side when it comes to their demeanor and their personalities until you really get to know them, because they're very critical people, fault-finding people in and of themselves with very strong senses of judgment when it comes to themselves and others. So naturally, they're assuming other people are the same way. So why would I show all of my hands, all of my cards on deck, like on the surface? You know what I mean? But, we'll get to that a little later as well. Now, Virgos are also really great at putting things together. They have very exceptional mechanic abilities. For example, I have a good friend who has his Mercury in Virgo, and he customizes cars, which is interesting because Mercury deals with vehicles, and once again, that Virgo is slick, the mechanic of the zodiac. Okay, they're very good at putting things together, and not for nothing, Mercury deals with the hands. Virgo deals with the hands, specifically the fingers. And that also exists in the same vein of them being really good problem solvers. But taking it back to that Mercury influence, it gives a lot of mental activity, a lot of mental stimulation. But on the more negative side, this overabundance of mental energy can lead to a surplus of anxiety, OCD, as well as a host of other mental ailments, especially depending on other placements in the chart and how they're aspected, right? Now, Virgo also rules the 6th house, which deals with work, routine, and health. And a lot of these anxieties and meticulous attention can be directed towards these areas. For instance, when it comes to their diet, a lot of Virgos are health nuts, or if they're not health nuts, they do subscribe to a lot of dietary fads such as veganism, vegetarianism. I know a lot of Virgos who experiment with their diets, who tweak their diets. And this is because Virgo governs the intestines, the small intestines. So they even tend to have very sensitive stomachs. These people can have Crohn's disease. These people can have, I have a cousin who, I don't know the exact name of the ailment. He was born on 9/11, and he had this thing where, like, he was backed up and he couldn't shit. and it was like he had extra intestines in his stomach. Like he was born with intestines that were too big for his body. It was weird. It was weird. But yeah, very much Virgo. But technically, when you get to like the smaller or the larger intestinal area and the rectum, that's Scorpio. But different story for a different day. But yes, Virgos tend to have very sensitive stomachs. And like I said, as a result, they can have very interesting dietary taste. Virgo is also one of the lesser known signs of cooking. So these people are the short order cooks of the zodiacs, or I look at it as meal prepping. You know, a lot of health nuts like to meal prep. They know how to cook special orders just the way that they like it. And they are extremely particular about either what they will eat or what they won't eat, or they'll eat everything. I know that Virgos can exist on like two opposite ends of the spectrum. So you have Virgos who are very picky, and then you have the ones who will just eat you out a house and home. Particularly the men. I've noticed the men could be the second type. Now, exercise. When it comes to exercise, Virgos are extremely aware of their bodies and can do very well in physical activities that require integrating all of the muscles of the body, such as dancing and even martial arts. And when I think of this, I think of my Zaddy with Khalifa. My baby daddy started doing MMA fighting. He's a Virgo, by the way, so which is very fitting. He used to be very small. And I mean, I liked him small anyway. I love skinny men. However, okay, he woke up one day and said, you know what? I'm a Virgo. Let me just hop in my bag right quick. He started doing MMA training and eating peanut butter sandwiches. I mean, I just made up. I don't know. But obviously, he had to have some type of dietary regimen. He gained close to 40 pounds of pure muscle. And he looks scrumptious and delectable, snackable. Okay, you can see his face better. He's all filled in. You see those abs. Ooh. Whew. Yes, he is a shining example of Virgos and their relationships with diet and exercise. Now, Virgo also deals with grooming, and this is why a lot of Virgos tend to be very neat, like as it pertains to their appearance. They tend to be very well put together, even if they don't have a lot of money, even if they are not super flashy or anything of that nature. They could be simple, but still very neat. You know, they're ironing their pants, ironing their shirts. Everything is like symmetrical. It just looks right. It just looks neat. I remember I dated a Virgo and he insisted on wearing suits. Mind you, this nigga worked at a call center at the time, okay? But he insisted on wearing like classic man Jadina style suits. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess, they say dress for the job you want, not the job that you have. But that is like, not saying all Virgos wear suits, but you get what I'm saying, that need for looking very put together and neat and clean and sharp. Unless they have some afflictions in their chart, which could cause major chaos as well as issues surrounding their health and hygiene. So you have that kind of Virgo too. Virgos also thrive off of order, which is why they earn the reputation for being neat freaks and even perfectionists, as I stated earlier in the video, which I halfway agree with. And I say halfway because just because you like things done in a certain order or carried out in a certain systematic kind of way, it's not equivalent to it being perfect or it being neat. There are some Virgos who are fucking hot messes and they leave messes wherever they go, but they like their messes to look a certain way. They know exactly where they put things. They go about navigating through the mess in a certain way. And if you come through just handling their mess any kind of way, they're going to chew you out. So you see what I'm saying? They like order. Each one of them have whatever your definition of order is might vary from Virgo to Virgo. And a lot of them tend to fit that traditional neat freak or perfectionist kind of archetype. But a lot of them I notice as well are just like, look, I just want my shit a certain way. Okay? Don't fuck it up. Not adhering to these certain systems in their own particular order can cause them a tremendous amount of anxiety, which is why they are exceptional list makers. And this goes back into the vein of them being very communicative and expressive. And a lot of Virgos tend to be really good writers. They can make for good journalists and things of that nature. But a lot of Virgos I know do make lists. And me personally, being a Virgo moon, I got to make a list about everything, okay? I'm going to make a list about all of the lists that I need to make. That's just like how deep the Virgo energy goes. Virgo's need for order and perfection can also lead to them correcting the mistakes of other people, which also runs in that same vein of them being fault finding and hypercritical. And in the workplace, this could result in them taking on tasks, the whole like you're not doing it right kind of thing, let me do it. So, and Virgo is the sign of service. However, unlike their opposite sign Pisces, who likes to give and do unto other people from a place of selflessness, Virgo is coming from a place of, bitch, I don't know if you can do it how it's supposed to be done. Okay? I think it needs to be done a certain way. So let me handle it. All right, let me have this. Which, I mean, can be cool because it also reinforces that theme of them being very reliable. But especially when it comes to relationships, a lot of Virgos can be rather on the codependent side. They can make for partners who do a lot to help their significant others. And if you're not very careful with that, just in general, if it's not reciprocated, it can get very, very codependent-y. Now, Virgo, like I said, being that they're the sign of service, they are naturally equipped with a sense of duty. This can make them amazing caretakers, doctors, nurses, assistants, apprentices, healers, civil servants, accountants, clerks, and etc. They don't like to be at the forefront of positions or in leadership roles. Virgo is more comfortable working in the background, holding down the fort, holding down the details. For example, okay, once again, me and my Virgo moon, I have been in the tech writing industry for almost 2 years. I recently quit, but that's a different story for a different day. However, tech writing is literally you working with engineers, going over their mistakes when it comes to them writing manuscripts and documentation, and like correcting the mistakes, making everything look pretty, and then publishing it. So you got the fact checking, you got the attention to detail, you have the very technical kind of aspect that Virgo specializes in, as well as the writing. So that's an example of a very Virgo based profession. Virgo is also one of the signs of the military as well as low-level cops. Going back to Virgo and their intellectual capabilities, Virgos can actually be a bit of a intellectual snob. These people are definitely natural critics. They can be skeptical of certain things and take a position of authority on a lot of different topics. And once again, like I said, with them not wanting to seem incompetent on things, they get a kick off of informing people of things, of educating people. I mean, Mercury does deal with education, it deals with teaching, so there's that. Geminis are like that as well. However, unlike Gemini, which is a more scattered type of mental energy, Virgo encompasses the ability to laser in on specifics, thus making Gemini more of the thinker, while Virgo is more of the doer. Gemini researches different topics of interest, while Virgo picks one topic and writes a fucking dissertation about that shit. Think about it like that. And this is also due to Virgo's ability to integrate the knowledge that they receive. With Virgo dealing with the sixth house, that sixth house in the natal chart is the bridge between your personal self. It links your personal sense of awareness of self to the outside world. And that's very much the essence of Virgo: integration, assimilation. Virgos can also be quite the smartasses. Okay, they encompass this very dry, maybe not even dry, but it's a a very slick sense of humor, and they can be extremely sarcastic. And once again, this is kind of the byproduct of that, a lot of that Mercury energy, them being so intelligent or just very witty. Okay, and they share that in common with Gemini too, but it's more of like a classier, upper echelon type of wit, which is why I called them intellectual snobs. Now, they judge other people on the daily, and this could come off as them making sly remarks, even if they're well-intentioned, giving unsolicited advice, thinking that they're helping you. But I mean, if they're just in a really crabby mood, they might just downright insult your ass, okay? And do it in a way that is so eloquent, okay? The person that I have in mind when I'm thinking of this, now that we're talking about this, is Joe Budden, the rapper from Pump It Up, you know, the one who's doing the For the Culture podcast, and he has his own podcast. He is very much like a walking mind fuck, and it's annoying because I can kind of see through that shit. He is very good with putting his words together, expressing himself, articulating himself, very much in a Virgoian, I just made that up, Virgoian fashion. But he can even, I feel, he toes the line between being well-spoken and just straight up condescending. And people who are really not that intelligent, he'll run circles around you. And he's not always even making like the most genuine argument. You know what I'm saying? Or he could genuinely not have a point. But if you're not well-equipped to kind of engage in a sparring of the minds with him, and unless you can really call him for his shit in his own language, you're gonna lose. Now, Virgo is a mutable sign, and much like all mutable signs, they are prone to extreme bouts of violence. So don't get it fucked up. I don't care how well spoken, how clean cut or put together you might view a Virgo to be. Push them too far and you just might die. Like, literally, I'm so not exaggerating. So you've been warned. Virgo is also very sexual. They don't get the credit that they deserve for being a very, very sexual sign. I kind of hinted on this in my video, Sex with Virgo. Okay, go check it out if you haven't. This is due to their love for service. So much like in all areas of their life, they like to bring that servitude type of nature to the bedroom. So they're down for pleasing their partners. Okay. And they tend to have a lot of like oral fixations. And due to them being a rather receptive sign, a lot of Virgos can like being very compromised in the bedroom, especially the men, doing things that are not like traditionally, you know, manly positions, or, you know, doing things that most macho men would be ashamed to do. Another shadow trait of that Virgo is self-humiliation. Like, when you have like a really dark-sided Virgo, a lot of them can be really into being, pissed on, shitted on, choked me. Kareen Steffan said she sucked dick till her nose started bleeding, and she's a Virgo. You know what I'm saying? They like that, you know, self-deprecating type of stuff. That's dark-sided Virgo. Virgo can also be rather prone towards drug and alcohol abuse. I've noticed this quite a bit over the years as well. This is due to Virgo needing a soft spot, like a soft place to land, or like an escape from reality, which is it puts them in a very similar situation to their opposite sign. And as we all know, a lot of the opposite signs share, even though they're very different in nature, that's why they're opposites, they share a lot of resounding commonalities. And that's a commonality that they do have with their opposite sign of Pisces, which, Pisces does deal with intoxication, addiction, drugs, alcohol, and things of that nature. A lot of Virgos, it's very easy for them to get into that. You know what I mean? And, not for nothing, yet another example of this is Joe Budden once again. I believe he was a a pillhead or something. I don't know, but he had a very long standing run with drugs. And a lot of the Virgos that I know personally are big alcohol drinkers. And once again, due to their need for control, I mean, they could either be the type that, like, look, I'm very straight cut. I don't fuck with any type of mind altering substances, nothing at all. Or they can be just, they can really have a penchant for, you know, escapisms and whatnot. And also, I forgot to mention, Virgo is one of the signs that is most prone to having an eating disorder. And this is obviously due to their hyper focus on diet, exercise, and them having a rather obsessive compulsive nature when it comes to these things. Like, it's very easy for them to get very carried away with their energy signature, and once again, it has to do with control and everything working in a specific order and being done in a certain way, you know. So yeah, I think that pretty much, this video is long enough. So yeah, that concludes my Virgo exposed. Y'all drop down in the comment section, let me know if I missed anything. And of course, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. Duh. And until the next video, I holla.